Hey, shalom. Here we are, continuing with our reading from Kohelet. Today we'll be studying chapter 1, verse 15 in the book of Ecclesiastes with directed Hebrew immersion. So let's get started. מעוות lo yokhal litkon. מעוות. So this is from the root avat, ayin vav tav, which is like twisting. This is what we call a pu'al participle. You don't have to know that. So it's like a twisted thing or something that is twisted. Me'uvat lo yuchal litkon. Lo, not yuchal. So we've got the yod there telling us it's he. It cannot litkon, be straightened. Takan. So takan has some various ideas. So even though it says litkon, it's in a call, this really doesn't show up in the Bible so much that way. And I think there's a Ketiv Kare here that says we should read it lahita kain. That's certainly how it gets translated in the Septuagint, as if it is a nifal, right? So takan, the general idea of this root, it has the idea of like putting things in order, right? In Ugaritic, takan is the name of Il Taknu. That's the god of Taknu, of order, the nominative version of that. So it's got the idea of like making things right, correcting things, right? Along this line. Now in the Nifal, it means to be made straight, right? So you can, something's bent. At least in here, we can guarantee that that's what it means, or it makes it's a good idea for it to mean that because we have the Hebrew parallelism. We've got this word over here. Oops, hold on. Why is it letting me do that? Come on. Really? You know, play this game. Right here. See, I've got the two bars indicated. I use that as kind of my notes for when something should be considered in Hebrew parallelism. And the other one, I should have put the note here. I thought I did. I'm not sure why it's not showing. This. So if the first word is me'uvat, and this is a concept, by the way, this Hebrew parallelism that's used a lot in the Hebrew Bible. So something which is bent, something which is crooked, right? This could be a crooked person. Lo yuchal, cannot be, or is unable to be. By the way, that yod there is telling us it's he. He cannot be litkon or lehitakain, be strengthened. So with infinitives, you're usually going to have an inseparable preposition like the lamed here. In the Bible, we really don't see the root tikkun, takam, tav, kof, nun in the call. You see how I have this? It's like black and outlined. This means it's a hapax legomenon. It's a word which only occurs one time in that form. This is the only place we find it in the call. And so with the Ketiv Kare, it's lahitakain. And like I said, we find it that way in the Septuagint also. That's how it's translated, as if it's a nifal, to be straightened, right? To be made straight. Okay, sorry, I added a Greek note in there, and when I did so, I wiped out my drawing, so it changed a little bit. So here it is from the Septuagint. It's the verb epikosmeo, which means to be ornamented, right? Like to add, to adorn, or to add ornaments. And that's kind of an interesting way that the ancient Greek-speaking rabbis translated this lehitakein or litkon. Like instead of just to be made straight, they did translate it as a passive. I didn't put the full form here. To be ornamented, right? So like that which is twisted cannot be ornamented, right? Like, of course, you can apply this to humans, so it's kind of interesting. The chesron lo yokhal leimor. I'm not sure why I have this in gray. Sorry about that. Chesron is a lack. And if you didn't know it, you might be able to figure it out. Some people have memorized, they like to memorize a very popular psalm. I'll stop. Just what's happening here. Which is Psalm 23. And you might recognize the root here. Chet Samech Reish. If you've memorized that psalm, well, what does it say? Adonai Ra'i Lo Echsar. Adonai is my shepherd, not that's an aleph, not I will, chasar, lack, to lack. I will not lack. Right? I won't lack anything. I won't be without. Hallelujah. Let's just claim that everybody who's going through anything, maybe you're having some financial difficulties, or you don't have a home, or the world is just beating you up, maybe you don't have a job. Why don't you take some time to at least memorize that line from Psalm 23? Adonai Ra'i. Adonai is the shepherd of Ra'i. He is my shepherd. He's the one shepherding me. Lo echsar. I will not lack anything. So here we have from that verbal root of chasar, to lack, we have a chesron. And no, this is not well, that's all the colors, huh? This is not a paragogic noon here. This is like a little diminutive. So it's going to make this whole meaning into a lack. Or if you like older English, like a want. So a lack, let me mark the vav. So, or probably nor. Oh, I'll just say and, fine. And a chesron, a lack, lo, cannot, sorry, lo is not, yokhal, cannot, lahimanot. Let me mark these lamets here. So we have an infinitive form. So this literally says cannot be counted. Right? Like, I guess the idea is like it's a nothing, right? You don't really count on nothing. There are other clever interpretations by changing the consonantal text to something else, but I don't like to do that unless we really have to. So I think best to stay with the cannot be numbered, even though there are some creative solutions if we change the consonantal text. So I don't want to do that. All right. So from the verbal root mana, mem nun hey, or mane. Oops. I asked for purple, I got blue. That's fine. Okay. count or to number. And then look, just like this first one over here, litkon is read lehitakein, as if it's a nifal, right? This is also a nifal. The infinitival nifal form has that hey there, and you see the dagesh inside the mem? That's where the noon went. It would have been lehin manot. Lehin manot. Test, test. Okay, good. Making sure my audio didn't go away. No. So the noon from the nifal form, showing it's a passive, is here, hiding in the mem. Lehin manot became lehim manot, to be counted, passive. מעוות lo yokhal litkon, a twisted thing or a twisted person cannot be straight. The chesron lo yokhal lehimanot, nor a lack and a lack cannot be counted. Now, I guess I could share what Rabbi Fox says on this, even though I don't like to change consonantal text. He recommends a minor emendation. Instead of lehimanot, change it to lehimalot with a lamed instead of a noon. So then it would be like to be filled, right? Nor can a lack be filled. But I don't see how that's really that much better, and it doesn't really seem to be true to me. How is it that a lack cannot be filled? Hold on, what is this on my screen here? What is that? Why are you reading that? Strange. I don't know where that's coming from. All right, let's continue. Verse 16, and it's a long one. Try to get the microphone better positioned. Dibarti ani עם ליבי לאמור. Dibarti, notice I have the red dashed underline. This means it's a perfect verbal form. And that T at the end tells you who is in control of the verb. You see T, the end, tells you it's first person. I. So dibarti, perfect. So that means it's a completed action. I spoke. Ani, I. So when you have two pronouns in a row and they're the same, that's an emphatic meaning. I don't think we have pink available, do we? I have my device back up and rolling it. Yeah, okay. I usually like to mark magenta as emphatic. So it's something like I myself spoke, or I definitely spoke. I'm, I'm. That means with. Libi. You notice we have a construct state here because in order to put a suffix on a word to express the genitive, to express ownership, it's mine, my something. We have to first put the word in the construct state. So this literally says leiv of e, or levav even. Notice there's a dagesh in there. That's interesting. So it's like this happens also with geminate verbs where you have two of the three root letters are the same. They will collapse and you just get a dagesh in one of the letters. So levav became leib e, my mind, my mind, literally my heart. But in Tanachit, in biblical Hebrew, that means mind. But it's easier to draw a heart picture. Equals mind. Oh, I can't reach up there. Leimor, saying. Leimor. Now, why is that next word in the construct? What is going on there? Well, there are different types of infinitives in Hebrew. And the one that we use usually to express the thought in English of the English infinitive, to run, to jump, etc., we put the lamed on the front, which means to, and then we use the form of the verb that's called the infinitive construct. Okay, so it's technically a construct form of the infinitive. And you'll see, and you have seen before, that if we put a suffix on it, then it's doing of me, right? If I put e at the end, or doing of so and so, which expresses the idea of I did or you did, etc. So we can do other things like put a bait in front. So it's when doing of I. So when I did. You understand? So it really is a construct form that can take suffixes. So that's infinitive. You don't have to remember the names. Construct. This is the construct. Ani. Again, I. Saying I. Hine. Behold. Look. Higdalti. So the root here is gadal. Gadol Adonai. Asher alo ki gadol Adonai. I really wish when they translate those nice Christian worship songs, they would translate it into biblical Hebrew instead of modern Hebrew. Like the Psalms Hebrew. Wouldn't that be nice? Singing those things. And the problem is they can't, so that's why they don't. Okay. So Gadal is to be great, right? And you notice we have a preformative here. Hey. And what verbal stem, what binyan does hey usually signify? This is the hifil binyan. Some delay in my writing. So, and then so that means I cause to be great, which is quite wordy in English. So it's better to say I magnified. And we know it's I because it's got the T at the end. So again, look, we got a double I. Over here we have I, and here we have I. And then we have hine, which is also a strong particle. Hine is something like behold now, or behold here, or like look here. It's kind of hard to translate into English. So the verse starts, dibarti ani. I spoke. I. So I myself spoke, or indeed I spoke. I'm with libi, my heart, my mind. Leimor, saying. Literally to say, but that doesn't sound right in English. Ani, I. Hine, behold. Higdalti, I have magnified. Vehosafti. Okay, so this is from the verbal form yasaf. And this happens sometimes when you have verbs that start with a yod. Sometimes that yod will become a vav. So that's our root. Yod, Sin, Pei. Yasaf. That's to add. Okay? And then the Hey is showing us it's another hifil form. Hope you guys can hear me okay. Hifil. So to cause to add. Right? And who did it? T. I. I gathered, I collected. Right? I caused to add. I gathered, I collected. Chokhmah. Chokhmah. Well, that means wisdom. That was one of our words of the day. Al. Al can mean upon or with or near. So with kol asher hayah. Kol, everything. Asher, which, sorry, hayah was. Notice it's a perfect with the red underline. Lifanai. Lifanai. So what's that I? The yod tells you it's I. My. To me, etc. And the lamed, well, that's an inseparable preposition. Oh, that was sloppy, wasn't it? Well, it's delayed. The drawing is delayed, and that's throwing me off a little bit. You know, when you draw and it doesn't appear, you can't really correct course as you're going. So two, panim is face. It just exists in the plural. That's why it's panai. My faces is what it looks like instead of pani. So lefanai, well, lifnei means before, and this has just added the yod suffix to it. So lifanai, before me. Vehosafti, so I gathered chokhmah, wisdom, al, with, kol, everything, asher, which, hayah, was, lefanai, before me. Al, upon or with or near Yerushalayim, Jerusalem. Velibi ra'ah harbe chokhmah v'da'at. Okay. Velibi, let's mark this one. E. My. Oh, it's orange. I meant to do it in yellow. To be consistent. My. And the vav. And. And it's a construct state. That's why we have the blue box around it, because we put the suffix on it. So levav or lev became lib. E. The heart of me, and my heart, or in my mind. Ra'ah, noticed. Literally saw. Harbe, much, or an increase. Chokhmah, wisdom. Vada'at, va, and da'at. Da'at is knowledge. It's from the root, the verbal root. Yod, dalet, I am. Yada. Yada. To know. Da'at. Or in ancient Hebrew, da'ath. Knowledge. So let's read through that one again. Dibarti. I spoke. Ani. I. Im libi. With my heart. With my mind. Leimor. Saying. Ani. I. Hine. Behold. Higdalti, I have magnified, והוספתי, and gathered, chakhmah, wisdom, al, with, kol, all, asher, which, hayah, was, lefanai, before me, al, with, or at, Yerushalayim, at Jerusalem. Velibi, in my heart, or my mind, ra'ah, saw or noticed, harbe chokhmah, much wisdom, vadat, and knowledge. I'm going to change this to examined. Examined really feels right here. My mind, my heart examined much wisdom and knowledge. Okay. All right. And maybe that's a good place to stop for today. Oh, whoops. Did it jump? It jumped to the next one. Sorry about that. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to join us over at in the Telegram app, which you can use on PC, Mac, any kind of mobile device. It's t.me slash Hebrew literacy. And we do screen new users. Don't worry, it's not too invasive. So when you first come over, you may only see like 4 to 6 people in the chat. That's because it's just admins. They're just going to make sure that you're not a terrorist or something. And then we'll let you into the chat with a lot more people to discuss biblical Hebrew. All right? You guys have a great and blessed day or evening, whatever the case may be. Really hope that you will have a wonderful, wonderful time. Shalom, shalom.